1962, the year when the world of business management was revolutionized by an individual and his principles. In that pivotal year, Peter Drucker introduced the concept of supply chain, forever transforming how businesses orchestrate their production and distribution processes. But this revelation begs a compelling question. Did the principles of supply chain exist long before Drucker's groundbreaking work? Or were they just a concept that was born out of Drucker's own research? So Peter Drucker brought about a revolution in the world of business. But to understand what Drucker put forward, we first need to understand his definition of what a supply chain is. So Drucker defined a supply chain as a network of businesses providing a product or service to customers who need that product or service, assisted by raw materials, suppliers, and distributors, which created like a seamless flow of goods and information. In essence, the supply chain is the lifeblood of any business. Often hailed as the father of modern management, was more than just a theorist. He was a visionary who saw the intricate connections between different facets of business. Born in Austria in 1909, Drucker's journey took him across continents where he studied law and worked in journalism before moving to the United States. Now, through his studying of journalism, Drucker learned about the behaviors of people, and he learned about the nature of humans regarding exchange of values. And through those learnings, he applied them to management, which is the case of most businesses, which is the case of the term business as a whole. Business started way back around the Neolithic periods when cavemen just started farming and then trading began. At first, it started off as a barter system, and then we moved on to trade currencies. So if you notice that business has a close link with ancient philosophy. So to grasp the essence of what supply chain management truly is, we have to link it to our daily lives, and we have to link it through philosophical ideas put forward by philosophers from the time of ancient Greeks to modern day. To begin with, a timeless quote from Saint Francis of Assisi. It goes by, "For it is in giving that we receive." This simple, profound statement highlights the importance of reciprocity and mutual benefit, which are the cornerstones of effective supply chain management. And not only supply chain, reciprocity and mutual benefit are factors that we face in our daily lives, in almost all of our relationships. In our relationships with our parents, in our relationships with our siblings, in our relationships with our friends, colleagues. Reciprocity and mutual benefit are the fundamental characteristics of any relationship to flourish. That is where supply chain holds a very close link with philosophies drawn from personal relationships in human life. For any relationship, what two people look for are benefits, two people look for common interests, two people look for how the other person is making them feel. It be in a business aspect, it be in an office environment. Similarly, in supply chain, raw materials play a pivotal role in initiating the network, initiating the flow of goods and services. A second philosophy that I'd like to associate with supply chain management would be from Maya Angelou. She quotes, "When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed." This is a quote that is related to more modern times rather than early periods in human history. This quote encapsulates the human behavior where mutual benefits play a huge role in building relationships. In the same way, for any supply chain network to flourish, there has to be exchange of value. Raw materials have to exchange and transfer their value to production. Production has to value a finished product. A finished product has to value the customer. Without value, there's no network in supply chain. And if the customer doesn't value from a particular product or service, there's no point in having to make the product. A third powerful quote by Dave Waters that I'd like to share in the modern scenario of defining supply chain networks. Dave Waters quotes that supply chain is not a function of the business, it is the business. And this statement highlights the critical importance of supply chain management as central to the overall success of any business. Other than being a network of separate businesses from point A to point B, from the raw materials being extracted to the customer receiving a product, a supply chain essentially is a whole network of every step. And this kind of relates to the human characteristics of exchanging value and building relationships. Almost everything in this world, from building the human civilization to expanding the human civilization, everything was done for some reason. And that reason identifies as the value what one person gets from doing it. From every conqueror to every laborer, each person had to do an action to receive some value. In that way, we can apply the concepts of supply chain to any situation in life. That's why when we talk about any relationships, when we talk about performing any actions, we often use the word logistics, as in, what are the logistics of this action? What are the logistics of your idea that you're putting forward? So when we look at supply chain using a philosophical standpoint that relates ideas from business to ideas in human life and the development of civilizations, we can trace the origins of a supply chain way back to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 BC, during which time the human societies were transitioning from nomadic hunter-gatherers to settled agricultural communities. That shift kind of marked the beginning of the first supply chains in a way, driven by the need to cultivate, store, and distribute food. During the Neolithic period, gatherers, nomads, they realized they had to settle down to protect themselves from predators and develop a sense of community. That need served as a value, and that value allowed them to take action, and they themselves were the receivers. In that way, it was a supply chain concept that started to develop. After the Neolithic periods, what began happening is the development of human civilization as a whole. Now, as human civilization started growing, so did the processes for supply chain. So, what happened after the Neolithic period was that human civilizations started to develop, and so did the methods of trading and supply chain, transferring logistics from one point to the other, transportation, warehousing, or storing products in different places. Some of the and this is proof. We can find proof of this in the Silk Road, or we can see bustling marketplaces in Baghdad or some other Middle Eastern countries where marketplaces brought in supplies from all over the world. So, did Drucker really do a great job in defining the term supply chain and reiterating it in a more organized way during the modern day? Well, that would be a bigger debate for later. But from what I know, Drucker has influenced the world in a significant way. And there's this one quote from Drucker that changed how I view my surroundings, that changed how I view my overall actions that I perform daily. And this quote from Drucker is, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." What a profound statement that is. In the context of our lives, this statement can hold massive impact. This means that taking charge of our destiny, every step we take, every effort we make contributes to building the future we envision. This philosophy deeply intertwined with the fundamentals of supply chain management, where every decision impacts the flow of goods. That way, every decision that we take in our lives impacts our future. So every right decision that you make ends up influencing or maybe changing the future that you have. So with that, in human life, the same principles apply to supply chain management. And from this, we can understand that we must set goals, have a plan, and take deliberate actions to achieve our aspirations. Whether it's pursuing a career, or starting a business, or making a positive impact in our communities, the act of creating our future lies in our hands. And with that, I complete the first video on supply chain and its origins.